Look, I'm not saying that I said Deion Sanders was going to throw for 500-plus yards or Travis Hunter was going to play 160 snaps a game or they're going to go 11-0, but I did say they'd compete.
What I got wrong, Texas Tech, okay? Now, long season, can still do what I had them do in the Big 12, pretty much everything that I said. But watching that game, I thought Joey McGuire's team would be a little more mature than what they were. You came out and it could not have gone better for Texas Tech early. Wyoming's a tough place to play. They had struggled against Power 5 opponents. Old school run, play action on third and medium, throw it when we have to, be physical on defense, slow the game down. You get a stop, you go right down the field and score. You get a turnover, you score. You get another turnover, you score. You're up 17-0. Texas Tech, that first drive, it was, you could tell they were so on script, couldn't wait to get off the bus and run that first play. They scored a touchdown, you're feeling great about it. Then it's just like they relaxed after they got up 17-0. They're like, oh, hey, Wyoming's just going to go away. They realize they're outmatched. We can go out here and have fun and run the numbers up. And then all of a sudden, you get sloppy. Wyoming starts to be able to control the ground game a little bit. And they inch back in it, and inch back in it, and inch back in it. And all of a sudden, you look up halfway through the third quarter, and you're in a dogfight against a team that now believes. When you have a chance to kill somebody early in the game, you step on their throat and you kill them. There are no prisoners in this game. You have got to take them out early. You wipe them out early, you wipe them out often, so they have no hope. You have to eliminate the hope. Texas Tech was on the verge of eliminating Wyoming's hope early. And Wyoming's not a team that's built to come back from down 3 scores. Not a lot of teams are. But when you operate at that pace and that style, and you have a chance to jump out in front of somebody and then be able to dog walk them the rest of the way, you do it. That's that killer mindset. Now, I will say, I don't think Texas Tech's a bad bet money line against Oregon this week. I've said they're going to win this game since the offseason, or since we've been going into it. We still don't know about Oregon. They played against Portland State, who gave up 46 points a game to the Little Giants last year. It seemed like every game they played. So we don't know. Texas Tech's going to be pissed off. That place is going to be nuts. They're going to want to make it up to the fans. They're going to want to make it up to everybody that believed in them during the offseason. And Joey McGuire is a hell of a coach, and they're going to be able to narrow their focus. So I was wrong about Texas Tech early. Let's see if I'm wrong about them late.
Who do you like more? Is it you like Texas Tech to beat Oregon or Baylor to beat Utah?
Texas Tech to beat Oregon.
What about you, Dave?
For Texas Tech to beat Oregon or Baylor to beat Utah?
Yeah.
I'll say Baylor to beat Utah just because we still don't know if Cam Rising's going to play, and the way Oregon looked this weekend, boys, I'm just saying.
I know.
They may have something serious going on in Eugene.
I did pick them to win the Pac-12.
They look good. All right, the team I was wrong about, there's got to be a playoff team that I have, and that's Clemson. I thought Clemson's defense looked extremely good. I know you ended up, give up 28 points, but you're on the field the entire game. I'm done. I don't want anybody to tell me that DJU is the problem, because he wasn't. That was just, at best, a mediocre performance. Garrett Riley, your job is to come in and do what? Score points. Where are the great ones? Where are the great OCs the best at? It's in the red area, zone. Right? It's in the red zone. You have Will Shipley, who is one of the – I don't know if I've ever seen Will Shipley get hit backwards in his career at Clemson.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever seen it. You know how many times he touches the ball in the red zone? 0. You got cute. And when you get cute against a team like Duke, you do what? You lose. Riley Leonard, top 5 quarterback. Defensive line for Duke, extremely overrated. There's going to be athletes on this field. And then you look, if you're Clemson, you look at Florida State right now. It's not looking great. You look at North Carolina right now. Like, you're not going to be able to skate your way to 11-win season this year. All right, I promise you not. And I have y'all going 11-1, and you also play who this year? Notre Dame. All right, so it's not going to be just an easy slate, easy walk in the park if you're Clemson this year, because what I saw, Cade looked erratic in the pocket, never looked settled. All right, you really didn't, your skill position guys really didn't wow me this year. You're still good up front on both sides of the ball, I thought, which is good, because your offensive line was the weak part last year. But DJU's not picking up that phone. And if you don't improve now, a lot, I'm telling you, Florida State looks like the best team in the nation right now. North Carolina looks like a top 5 team. You can find yourself losing 3 to 4 games this year.
Yeah, here's what did we say about Clemson? What's been their deficiency? And DJU, look, DJU wasn't great for Clemson. I don't think if DJU plays last night, that game's any different, to be honest with you. after watching him throw at Oregon State. He had guys running wide open against San Jose State. I'm going to see DJU do it again in a game that there's some skin in it, where you're having to make the throws and you're not just able to line up and pound it down somebody's throat, which Clemson was really able to do for most of this game in between the 20s. But to go back to what we've said all offseason, the difference in Clemson being able to beat the Bamas and hang with them is the skill position, right? They've had years where they were just good enough on the offensive line, and the skill position, the T. Higgins, the Deshaun Watsons, the Trevor Lawrence, the Travis Etiennes, the Mike Williams. I can go down the list of guys that they've had. Where are those guys? Where are they? I mean, we talked about this receiving core that was supposed to be better. Antonio Williams, you had multiple mistakes that he made, including a big drop late. Bo Collins, just all right. I thought Will Shipley, like you said, in between the tackles, when they would just line up, it got to the point where if you're like Clemson, stop even running the RPO.
No need
Just
to.
line up and run inside zone. Get in split gun like you were doing, all right, and run it down their throat with lead and zone and split and stuff like that. But they did get cute in the red zone, and they used Phil Maffa. To me, I called it Duke was running a bend and let Clemson break defense. That's really what it was, because Clemson would get down in the red zone, right? And you knew they were going to run it on first down. You knew they were going to run 2 to 3 different plays, because that's what Garrett Riley does, and he used his tempo. And Duke brought everybody in zeroed up. If you're going to zero up on 2nd and goal from the 6, I am running a rub route and throwing the ball and scoring. Go back and look the way Duke lined up when Clemson got inside the 10. It was pure zero, David. I'm talking about pure zero. DBs are on the same level, which is an instant check outside. But speaking about LSU didn't throw the ball down the field. Clemson didn't throw the ball down the field. How many times did Clemson throw the ball deep?
Yeah.
Some of that could be weather related. The weather was nasty.
It's true, but I'm watching Duke take shots. I'm watching Duke take shots, and Duke didn't hit one of them. But that ability to take them kept Clemson out, and Clemson's defense played well enough to win. Barrett Carter missed 1 tackle. Riley Leonard made a hell of a play at the end. But, I mean, you get down there, you miss 2 field goals. You turn it over twice inside the 15, David, you're going to lose on the road. All right, the Booster Club sold Genucel out of their product. It's fantastic. It's for men and women. We're all fans of Genucel. Ella from Rockford, I think we all know Ella, love her, said I have both the age and acne spots, and this stuff is actually fading both of them, like you should have fade somebody that's bad at sports betting. The serum's worth every penny. And look, Genucel, they get you a money-back guarantee, so you know it's legit. They got the dark spot corrector. They've got everything. If you have discoloration, brown spots, sunspots, inflamed patches, all that stuff, it'll disappear before your very eyes. It's an invisibility cloak for nastiness on the skin. David uses it. I use it. Blaine uses it. He should have rubbed some on his Achilles, and maybe it would work.
Probably.
It's simple. Go to genucel.com/booster. That's GENUCEL.com/booster and start looking years, even decades younger. It's a Benjamin Button situation. Anything Tom Brady did it. Say goodbye to liver spots, bags, and puffiness under your eyes. Crow's feet at genucel.com/booster. That's genucel.com/booster. Kapow!
Miami. Mario Cristobal is the guy for this program. And look, it's not just, every time you hire someone is coaching their alma mater, it doesn't always work out. It didn't work out for Scott Frost at Nebraska. But Mario Cristobal, 2-time national champion at Miami, played on the offensive line. And that's the thing we were talking about, is Miami's always going to have some of the best skill players in the country. Can they get better on the offensive and defensive lines? They rush for 250. I know this is against Miami of Ohio, but again, coming off of a bad season, trying to turn this program around.
They looked organized.
All the small victories.
And clean.
Yeah, exactly. Rush for 250, gave up 51 yards of rushing. Tyler Van Dyke just played more within himself, right? He was 17 of 22, threw a touchdown. He did throw an interception. He's not going to be able to put the ball in harm's way against Texas A&M if they're going to win. But this matchup against Texas A&M at home gets a lot more intriguing now, and I know we're going to be breaking it down throughout the week.
For sure. I'm so excited about this game. There'll be people talking about this game, but I think this can end up being one of the best games of the weekend, with as resurgent as both teams look. Just from, man, they didn't look sloppy on offense, right? Like last year, Miami and Texas A&M were just that sloppy guy that walked in that's sweating with, like Rob Reiner food hanging all over his face and stains all over his shirt. This year they walked in, guess what? They lost some weight, right? Their skin looked good. Must be using Genucel, right? They showered today. All right, they've been exercised. That's what it looked like.
Yeah, well, they look like they're supposed to look, how you expect them to look.
Yeah.
Like Texas A&M, They look huge and fast. Am I surprised by that?
Wegman was spinning it.
And Wegman was absolutely spinning it. No, I'm not surprised by that at all.
No, and it's New Mexico. We'll see. If they've done it against Old Mexico, that's a different story. I wanted to come on here and just talk trash about Utah beating Florida again. I really wanted to, David. I really, really wanted to do that. But we kept the receipts and read them last week, so I'm not going to do that again, even though that was just absolutely delicious. South Carolina fans, come here. Y'all need to come to the principal's office. Some of y'all need to come to the principal's office and sit down. You've been misbehaving. Caught a lot of hell. Shout out to my boy Chris Phillips on the Spurs Up Show. Picked him to go 5-7, and we'll see. It's a long season. But guess what? It wasn't about Spencer. All the questions, what's Spencer Rattler going to see? Which Spencer Rattler we're going to see? We're going to see late in the year Spencer Rattler, early in the year Spencer Rattler. Spencer Rattler did as much as Spencer Rattler could possibly do. The question for South Carolina is not whether Spencer Rattler is a good player. It's, are you that bad up front? And the answer is yes. You gave up 9 sacks to a North Carolina defense that couldn't sack potatoes in the state of Idaho last year. You had 17 sacks last year. I know it's a new year, but making that jump says more about South Carolina's offensive line to me than it does about North Carolina's defense. So South Carolina's in a lot of trouble because the difference between LSU and South Carolina, like I talked about, LSU has the personnel to fix the problem. They have fixable problems. I don't know if there's a magic wand or some sort of flex seal that short, fat guy could slap on the side of the South Carolina's offensive line.
Flex seal could fix it.
Like
Flex
it's a
seal,
boat.
yeah.
Like it's a boat. I don't see a world in which South Carolina is able to fix that. And you got Furman coming to the house this week, and that's no walk in the park, buddy. I can promise you that.
9 sacks.
Nine sacks. You've got Jacksonville State as your other non-conference, and
fun.
Clemson, even though they look bad, right? Clemson's kind of
their D-line's good
with South Carolina. I'm telling you, it was right about South.
Yeah, I agree. Kudos to you on that.
Thank you, dog.
We're quickly mine. I'm going to say Colorado. And look, I'm not saying that I said Deion Sanders was going to throw for 500-plus yards or Travis Hunter was going to play 160 snaps a game or they're going to go 11-0, but I did say they'd compete. I ended up having Colorado going 5-7. I think after watching that game, I think you can see 5 wins on that schedule, and I think this Nebraska game will be extremely intriguing. One team that can't score and one team that can't stop the run. So we'll see which one breaks first. But I would say Colorado and what Prime did, even if he lost that game, in my opinion, that would have been a win for that program.
I agree with you. So what's the ceiling now? What's the realistic ceiling now? Because now you've beaten them and the way that Nebraska looked in week 1 and you get them at home, combined with the fact that you're going to get Stanford at some point, you're going to get an Arizona State.
Stanford looked good against Hawaii.
We start to talk about, they could go to a bowl game? Or is this just, because Deion Sanders has everybody thinking they're going to win the Pac-12. Like, what is...
Yeah, no, I'm not saying that.
So what's your ceiling?
I would say, let me look at the schedule real quick. Because I had them winning 5. I think maybe 7 or 8. Nebraska, you got to think that's a toss-up. Toss-up game.
They're favored right now.
Colorado State, you're going to be favored in that game.
They could start 3-0.
You go to Oregon, I don't see you winning that game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see you winning. USC could get weird.
Give up 10 yards of carry, boys.
I know, but it is the Pac-12, and I know the Pac-12 is a little bit different this year, but if you can score points, you can run with anybody.
So that's where I want to say, because Jake and I were still partially right about a lot that had to do with Colorado. What we were saying was, of course, they're going to have great skill players. Is that going to be enough? Just the same thing we were just talking about with South Carolina. Is that going to be enough to make up for the deficiencies on the offensive and the defensive line? So Colorado rushed for 55 yards. That's not going to be good enough as you go into Pac-12 play. They're not, even if Deion Sanders throws for 500 yards every game, which I don't think he will, still, you got to be able to run the ball better than that. And then they gave up 262 yards of rushing on the other side of the ball. But despite that, they went out there and won a football game and wanted it more. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of Deion Sanders' style, even though I grew up a huge Deion Sanders fan. But when your team goes on the road and wants to win more than the other team that just played in the national championship, that starts at the top to me.
And
that starts at coaching.
TCU's almost a prime example of that. Last year TCU's team won 9 games with 1 possession and was the worst team in the nation on big plays given up.
You got beat by 58 in the Natty.
Yeah.
The last 4 games Sonny Dykes played in, they've given up like 50 points a game. Let's not forget who Sonny Dykes is now. Let's remember Sonny Dykes, SMU, has scored a lot of points, give up a lot of points. The more I watched, I went back and watched that Colorado game. Sean Lewis, the offensive coordinator, was the head coach at Kent State, called a perfect game.
He did.
He called a perfect game. Prime he's the head coach. He brought him in. Get a lot of credit. Shedeur Sanders, all the players, they're the ones that go out and make the plays. I totally get it. We'll see how many, Travis Hunter, I've never seen this experiment run out before with a guy taking this many snaps. I don't know. I don't know how long it's going to be able to work. But Sean Lewis went in there early and said, I know we're not good on the offensive line. The odds of us being able to line up and run the ball at TCU, even though TCU is not exactly the steel curtain on defense, isn't great. They got the ball out quick early, so it slowed that pass rush down. They started changing their eyes, and then he ran it when he needed to. But I thought Shedeur Sanders did such a good job, kind of like of Jordan Travis, of when he extended the play, he kept his eyes downfield.
Yes.
How many plays did he make on broken plays? That's a lot of times what games come down to. Plays don't always work out. All right, well, you're going to run the post. He's going to run the underneath here, and we're going to hit him right on time. You're going to go 1-2 and hit him. Yeah, it works out like that sometimes. But the scariest moments as a defensive guy, as a defensive coordinator, was, oh, my God, the play's now been going past 3.5 seconds. He broke the pocket, and it turns into a scramble drill. That's when those athletes, it turns into true backyard one-on-one.
Those aren't 50-50
Those
balls.
aren't 50-50 balls that
balls.
Travis Hunter's getting thrown to him.
The most impressive things for Shedeur Sanders to me, beyond all the yardage that's everyone going to talk about, his accuracy down the field, his ability to recognize the difference between man and zone coverage and then take advantage of zone coverage when he got it. Those were those huge fourth down plays. They were 2 for 2 on fourth down. Those were game-winning plays. And then another thing is TCU did get home a couple times. Hit him hard on a couple of those sacks. Didn't phase him at all. It wasn't like he went untouched the whole game. He just popped back up and remained accurate down the field and just made plays.
I thought the receivers did a great job, too, once he got out of the pocket. A quarterback, if you're a receiver and the quarterback breaks the pocket, he's coming to you, you go backwards. And if he's coming away to you, you come to him. So I thought, from a chemistry standpoint, once he broke the pocket, the receivers did a great job.
Hey, YouTube, we are less than 200 subs away from 100,000. By the time you're reading this, or listening to this, I'm probably already dead, and/or we passed 100,000 subs. We appreciate it. Let's get to 200,000 because we choose to do it because it's hard, not because it's easy. Appreciate you guys.